Hi everyone, and here we go again. We're heading into that very dry time of year where we start to see just little modification to our weather pattern, and critical fire weather starts to develop, and that's because everything is just so dried out. We haven't had rain for several months. So very wet May gave us an opportunity to build some of those grasses at the lower level. So we got kind of that wetting rain that gave us a kind of reigniting, so to speak, more brush and fuel that gave us a lot of opportunity for bigger fires to develop, unfortunately, later in the year. And now that everything has been drying out and weather patterns are shifting, that is going to give us a higher fire danger into our Wednesday and early Thursday forecast. And here's the reason why we're talking thunderstorms. I'm going to go ahead and turn this around some of the weather graphics that I'm talking about. Here it is. It is thunderstorms that have been popping up over the past several hours in the Sierra in particular. Now, earlier today, we had some isolated cells, especially around the Kirkwood area and around Truckee, that were producing some pretty good popping thunderstorms. Let me go ahead and put this back about 6 hours so we can see some of those thunderstorms that developed. And it was pretty quickly. I mean, at 3 o'clock, we weren't really seeing all too much. And then all of a sudden, we really started to see the action right around the Kirkwood area, like I said, and then developing in that 80-50 corridor. So what's happening here is with the lightning strikes and not a huge amount of rain developing, it gives us really a possibility for rapid fire spread. I'm just going to I want to make sure that I get to all your comments, so I have to put it in a different application. There we go. So here's what I'm looking at right now. This graphic is kind of an overview of the critical fire conditions, the dangerous conditions, red flag warning in effect Wednesday, with thunderstorms, little rain, and dry lightning, leading to rapid fire spread potentially throughout most of the foothills and the Sierra. So you can see that little area there that doesn't have anything. That's going to be a fire weather watch. That's going to be on Wednesday. Again, dry lightning a possibility, perhaps not as much thunderstorm action, but the area that's shaded in green, this is going to be for Wednesday with the risk of thunderstorms. And again, there's just not a whole lot of moisture out there, but this is all coming in from what was Tropical Storm Ivo in the Pacific. It's now nothing except feeding us with moisture and more thunderstorm possibilities again for tonight and into tomorrow. Here's the interesting thing. We may have actually some thunderstorms that pop up in the foothills and Sierra for tonight, and may hear some rumbles of thunder in the valley. If you hear that, just be aware that's what's happening. You might even be able to look off to the east for tonight and see numerous lightning strikes. Sometimes we see that during the summer, especially with strong monsoons that develop. We're not particularly seeing that. We are seeing, like I said, the remnants of what was Ivo in the Pacific. Nothing going on there right now. But this gives an overview of what I'm talking about for tomorrow. That slight chance of valley, very early morning thunderstorms, and then for the foothills as well. That will continue for the Sierra for tomorrow, giving us that critical fire weather into our Wednesday forecast. We have a few ways to prepare, though. With the recent devastating wildfires, the most deadly, the most destructive, we're starting to see more agencies coming out with, okay, now that we know this is going to be going on, how can we keep people safe? So I'm going to go ahead and come on over here. This is a story that our own Madison Meyer did last night, and it's a map that shows dozens of California cities and towns that are at risk in case of evacuation. So sure, now is the time to prepare, but the map actually shows that when you look at some of the red areas here, and I'm just pulling this up live, so stay with me, that many areas in the Sierra, the problem is that there are very few evacuation routes. So you look at, let's say evacuations were taking place in South Lake Tahoe. The population is over 21,000 people, and there's only 9 exit routes. Just to the north at Dollar Point, sure, there's only 1,200 people there, but there's only 4 ways out. Now, if we take a look at a place like Knights Landing, there's 1,000 people there and only 2 roads to get you out. if you are evacuated. Again, now is the time to prepare, given how many places in our area have very few evacuation routes if that evacuation is issued. Even Clear Lake, we've seen a lot of destructive fires there within the past 5 years. There's 11 exit routes, but 15,000 people have to use that if you are going to try to get out of a destructive wildfire. This was just released today, okay? PG&E is in court today. They got a lot of lawsuits. They got a lot of issues, okay? A lot of people are saying, no, the Tubbs fire was due to PG&E. Then judges are saying, no, it wasn't. Well, here's how they are helping to try to get people to not have these rapid fire spreads if a line goes down. This is going to be the awareness, the weather awareness. And what it's going to do is give you, let's see. So I'm doing this live as well. This is going to be, here we go. This is going to be the power shut off 1 week in advance. So they're going to work with meteorologists and fire scientists to say, these are the areas that we feel are at risk in the next week for a power shutoff. So none expected for this week, even with our red flag warning, none are expected this week. If they had an elevated risk, you'd see what zone it would be. Okay, so here's the zones right here on the left, and here are the zones on the right, so you can see where your region may exist here. And then let's say, oh, by day 5, we're going to be under a watch or a warning for power shut off. Hopefully this will allow us to better prepare for any power shutoffs that may be occurring due to weather conditions that would lead to high fire risk if a line were to go down. You may be asking, well, wait a minute. We have this red flag warning. Why aren't we going to have any power shutoffs? Well, here's the key. This isn't necessarily due to red flag warning conditions due to strong winds and north winds, dry winds, gusty winds. This is going to be because of thunderstorms, little rain, and dry lightning. So yes, we could see rapid fire spread, but it's different elements that are leading to the critical fire weather. Okay? I want to go ahead and look at anybody that has any questions. Okay, so most people are saying, okay, dry lightning is the worst. Totally agree. This is dry lightning just can spark so many fires. I don't know if some of you remember this. Oh, my memory's so bad. I don't know how many years ago it was, but we had the lightning complex fires that were going on in Northern California. There were hundreds of lightning strikes in one weekend, and it just set off so many fires. It covered huge regions of the northern part of the state. Right now, some of those thunderstorms are starting to die down as expected, but develop again tomorrow, especially during the afternoon, and that could again lead to that higher fire danger, rapid spread, any lightning strikes that hit. Think about it, we haven't had rain since May, and even then what it did is we dried out a little bit. We put rain on top of what was already dried out, and then you get new seedlings growing up underneath it. And that gives us a whole new batch of fuels that continue to dry out. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You get the wetting rain, yay, okay, we don't have this dry fuel, but then you have a whole nother batch of new fuels that can provide for bigger fires and just higher fire situations. Okay, so just looking down here, seeing if anybody, most of you just kind of want an update on what's going on here. And we had the thunderstorms earlier today. I can put this back even 6 hours ago, and you can see how much thunderstorm action there was in this year. A nice thing is that we did get some rain associated with this, so it wasn't just lightning and no rain, but we have seen that occasionally. And that will continue again for tomorrow. Now, the highest risk of thunderstorms is going to be up in the Sierra, on the eastern side of the foothills, and then all the way through Northern California. This is going to be generally the area that also has the red flag warning. I also want to mention, for those of you that are just joining, I mentioned we may see or hear some thunderstorm action in the valley. Now, mostly we may be seeing some lightning off in the distance to the east of us, all the way through the foothills, or maybe some rumbles of thunder. Chances are we're not going to get any wetting rain. We will, however, see that in the Sierra, leading us to the critical fire weather and the dangerous fire conditions. With the red flag warning in effect through tomorrow, we will be monitoring this. Of course, there's our website right there, abc10.com/weather. And we'll be getting more information as we continue to see this develop. Make sure you tune in to LNT Late News tonight. That's at 11 o'clock. We'll be live with updates on this, as well as Tropical Storm Dorian, which is heading towards Puerto Rico right now. Preparations are being made. There's virtually no water on the shelves or emergency supplies. People are scared after 2 years ago when Maria hit. All right, folks. Well, I am going to head out, try to get some dinner here. And we will see you hopefully on the LNT at 11 p.m. All right. Take care.